Hey there, artist. So I'm going to be showing you how you are going to be working on creating this roof for your gnome home. And like we did when we made the base, we are going to be using a slab of clay. So please follow along, and if you need to watch the video again, of course, do that. So off to the side here, I have this giant slab of clay, and remember, I've already made these for you. I like to just make sure by touching it that I don't feel any air pockets. And this is the size of the piece-ish that you are going to need for your to make a cone shape for a roof. So to do this, you want to put as many people, of course, maximum. And I actually think it's easier to have the line to go in the center and use any tool to cut that you would like. So I'll go ahead and start. And if it doesn't fit exactly, that's okay. This shape isn't even exact. It's kind of like a half circle. So this piece is a little bit bigger even than the cylinder. Okay, guys, I will put these back where they're supposed to go, because that's what we make with all of our or use for all of our details. Let me set this extra slab aside. And just like we did with the base, if you want to add texture, you can go ahead and add texture. So I'm gonna think about which side I think looks better, because I'm going to leave as my outside. I'm gonna leave it like this. I think this side looks a little bit better. I don't mind the wonkiness. And let me go ahead and apply some texture. So, had to grab a little tool. I'm gonna use this one. And you don't have to add texture. All right. So, to make the cone, this is going to be some trial and error, folks. What you are going to do is, let me flip it back over again. I am looking at it with the straight edge farther away from me. To make a cone, I'm going to go in the middle-ish of mine, and I'm going to start with the triangle over here, or the point over here, and I'm going to not fold over. I'm going to fold this point towards the middle of the curve over here. So it folds down. This point to the same middle of the curve. Down. That's it. You just kind of have to work it together. I'm going to go ahead and set it up now. Let me make sure you saw that. So I've looked at it with the straight edge. I fold it kind of down. I mean, I'm not flattening it. It's a cone. And down. So half circles are what help you create a cone. And this isn't scored or slipped, but I'm just going to push it together a little bit to help me form it. So you could see that it is not perfect here. You might want to lay it back down, and you can work with it to try to make it the shape that you want it to be. So I'm going to just get a little bit of the corners gone. So the shape I'm giving you is not perfect. It's better for a perfect half circle-ish. I should say ish. Okay, so now, just like before, I need to score and slip. I'm not going to worry about cutting those angles that help it form. You are welcome to do so, but I am going to skip it. You can see that my well, maybe you can't see, but there's some stress on my clay, meaning that it's getting papery over here or cracks. If you have that, that means your clay is feeling stressed. And so why'd I dip that in there? I don't know. So watch what you're doing, because that cracks could happen if it's feeling stressed. So I score first, means scratch, 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 with any tool, really. And then use your fingers, just a couple, and then add some slip, which is clay that was once dried, but now is in some water. It's not just little clay bits from your table, because that clay has not been dried out yet. Okay, guys. And then I can go ahead and squish them together. Now, if it's turning too thin and you're like, ooh, if I squish it together too much, it's going to break. Well, there's a solution for that too. Sometimes I make clay band-aids. So you can take a little chunk of clay, make a small coil and you can use some slip to stick it in here or even on the other side, although you can't really flip it over so easily, and to help bandage it up if it needs. This is an emergency fix if your clay is too thin. So making the roof is a little bit more challenging than making the cylinder because you have to fold it into a unique shape and you can't lay it down very easily except for that one way. I like to look on the inside, and the inside of your cone is also where you are going to write your name, all right? So you can use another tool, scratch in your name or your initials, Miss Langdon. All right, and you can play with the shape. Now, before I do anything else, make sure it sits how you want it to sit on top. Like, look, oh my gosh, I just almost swallowed up my whole house by putting on my, what is this? Roof. So think, what can you do to make it better? If you have to go around and cut a layer off, then go around and cut a layer off. I'm gonna cut down an inch and cut a little bit off. Again, this is not ideal, but you can do it. Oh gosh, this clay is too much thinned, and I don't have a great tool for cutting. I know what I'll do. I'll flip it up. On this one, the one that I made to solve that problem, I flipped up the lip of the roof, which you can do on this one too. Gosh, I hope this demonstration is making sense and you're not like, what is she doing? Because it looks like I'm making a mess, and I definitely am. But that's what I'm doing. Okay, so you can flip up the roof, and actually that's even solved my other problem too. So if you want to cut that off, you can cut that off. So make sure it fits on top of your cylinder. Make sure your name is legible. Okay, so if you don't finish today, don't panic. We'll work it out. Now, to store it is going to be, in my opinion, what could potentially be the biggest challenge. If my cylinder is nice and thick, so I can just lay it on top and be nice and careful of it. If it's not, then you're gonna have to set it inside the crate, sharing your crate with other people and not touching their artwork. So it's going to take some trial and error. We might have to even clean up a little early. Storage is one of the biggest challenges with clay. So I'm actually going to squish this top and crink it a little bit to make it more interesting. And then be thinking about the details that you want to add, like a chimney or something else, I don't know. So that is how you make the basics of the roof. And the details that you add, though, are all up to you. Happy arting today.